go. Hopefully the mic works now, and we're all good to go. Hopefully we can get a quick look on the results. That's qualifying done, and we will see you in a minute for the main race. Sorry for the delay on the start of the stream right there. There was a few bugs, but we've got through it now. We'll see you in a bit. Ready, hold, go! Who's gonna get it into turn one? We are away. It's the Mercedes into first place immediately. So Maxon's right there, but it's Nefo's trying to have a go. They're now side by side with Frantic. Frantic's got Ticey for company behind in the Alpine, but Charlie gets away well. So Maxon right there. It looks like it might be side by side a bit further up as Frantic just about stays ahead of the French team driver. Brilliant stuff right there. Now we've got Heichler, his favourite circuit, one of them at least. He's currently in P6. He's got a bit of work to do. Top 8. They score points. He's currently in for getting a couple of points, but his championship rival is a fair few positions up at the moment. They send it to the inside line here on Ticey. That is some big desync. They've managed to deal with it quite well, but we'll get that sorted for the main race and the main qualifying. Unfortunately, that's how it is for now. They're going to have to try and find their way through on DRS and hope that that is all good, because otherwise that's going to be a bit of a problem. Hopefully it is no problem a little bit later on. That is the start of the Grand Prix. We're going to get some details on the screen immediately as we can look at the tyre situation. It's mediums for everyone at the moment. We will drop that back as we will not be going into the pit lane at all. We shouldn't be. At least, are we going to see any challenges into the final corner here as Sir Maxon is so close to the back of that Mercedes? But no, they're absolutely fine. Nifo sitting in a very nice P3 at the moment. They've been suffering from some technical difficulties. So is Nabil, so they're giving it their best shot right here as well. They're currently in P10 as we go into the first corner. Going defensive is Sir Maxon. No one else is attempting an overtake. Are we going to get anybody further behind? Not going for an overtake in the end. We do get Becken and Peanuts switching positions as Peanuts has had an issue into the first corner. They have damage, so maybe they just locked the rears or something like that. Tom Rob is a little bit further behind. That is Becken, unfortunately, colliding with the barrier right there. No one else has got damage from behind. It looks like Devon Young seems fine, and we've got Jericho Willis right here as well. They seem absolutely fine. Big moment there for Nabil. Hopefully they can get things back together and stay in this race. Transitioning from controller to wheel, by the way, so they're giving it their best shot. I forgot to mention that a few races ago. But currently, it is all a bit of a train. We knew this was going to be the case. This is a circuit where you really have to try and stick with the cars ahead because everybody just drags each other along. We have got 7 tenths between Ticey and Heichler. That's a bit of a gap. Then the biggest gap is with Nabil and Devon. And then after that, it is a 2-second gap with Becken. Another 2-second Tom Rob. And then Peanuts is just under 1.5 seconds away from Tom Rob. Charlie leads the way. DRS is now finally enabled but everyone's starting to turn off their battery, so everyone will bunch up even more so, and it's going to be very, very tight up the front. That is for sure. Everybody's going to be super close. We've got Samaxon, who will be forced into making an overtake here because Nifo's going to be catching their teammate. They might get pressured from Frantic if there's not any movement. No one else is going for overtakes behind, but there is a little bit of contact there between the two teammates as they're trying to figure out how the speed is going around this circuit with this race. Whoa, that's a big crash as Frantic is into the wall on the inside line. I don't know if that was contact with another car or if that was just a retirement, but there's no safety car somehow. Even though they're literally on the racing line, that will be their race done. No points for Frantic, and they're going to have to wait for the main and qualifying and race event. Unfortunately, that is such a shame and such a weird one how we haven't got a safety car. I don't know if that created a split in the grid. It doesn't really look like it created much of a problem. That being said, Igor is a little bit further behind. Like I said, I don't know if there was contact with the car behind and they pushed Frantic into the wall. I don't think they did. I think they just turned in a little bit too hard, and Frantic had a pretty tough sprint race to forget right there. Igor is trying his best to catch back up, and they're not too far away at all. Heischler kind of not on their own, but relaxing. They've got a bit of space behind them and in front of them. Then the top four are all incredibly close to one another right now, and this is going to be where the top points are scored in this sprint race. Of course, the main race is where all the mega points are scored, but you've really got to try and juice everything out of this championship as much as you can. Charlie goes for the move on the inside here of Samaxon. Nothing's going to happen with that. Becken gets a 3-second time penalty. I want to say nothing's going to happen with the cars behind. I was going to say Nifo wouldn't go for the move on Samaxon, but they almost had a look at making it. Don't know if there was contact there as they went through turn 4, because Samaxon's all over the place on entry and on exit. Nifo is incredibly close to the back of them. They haven't lost Charlie enough to really deem it a big problem, but Samaxon continues to have issues. They're going all over the place. We had Ticey and I think Heister as well off in the background on the exit of turn 11. At 12-ish, they go through turn 13 and they look all fine for now, and everyone's kind of relaxed a little bit more. But unfortunately, Jericho Willis has lost out to DRS range of the cars ahead. It is going to be Devon Young that will have to get a slingshot here, but they've made a big mistake. It looked like they were grinding that curb right there on the inside. Unfortunately, they're not going to be able to get that slingshot. They're going to have to try and get it in the next DRS straight, but time penalty as well here for the Williams car of Jericho Willis, who's trying to get some laps in ready for tomorrow. They are not having the best of times right now with the train up ahead that are incredibly quick. Now, Charlie stays the lead car as Samaxon wants to go back into the lead of this Grand Prix, and their best bet at this stage of the race is to go into the first corner. But Nifo's going to come along as well, and they're going to look at taking the lead of the Grand Prix away from their teammate. Is Charlie going to try and hold on to Samaxon? We're going to get Ticey also sending it here on the Sauber. Will the Sauber be able to hold on to that top 3 spot? They will not be able to do so, and Ticey makes it work. One Dutchman makes a move up in front, and another does as well. Nifo leads the way of the Grand Prix for the first time this evening. Will it be enough? The sprint race, I should say. Will it be enough, or is it not really? It's going to be a difficult one around a circuit like this, but we will see how it goes. As these guys fight, it brings Heister a bit closer to where they were before. They were looking about 6-7 tenths. Now they are incredibly close. We've got Eager Pro, who's going to have an opportunity to catch up as well. We've got Jericho Willis and Devon Young, who just haven't had the chance to really catch up here, unfortunately. And as the DRS train just gets better and better, it's even more difficult to deal with. Devon Young just really twitchy on the setup, it seems, as they almost went into the wall. I don't know how they're still in this race, but they will have another opportunity to go for a reset and change everything on their car if they need to as they go into the main race a little bit later on. Hopefully it can sort out itself for now. Lap 5 out of 9, about to turn lap 6 out of 9, losing the car on the rear end as they're power sliding through turn 27. Nifo will start the lap, but will they get to the first corner first? Charlie will do so instead. Ticey is going to have a look at the inside line. They almost look like they're going to back out, and then I think they tapped the rear of Nifo, unless they didn't, and that was just a bit of a lag situation right there, but they sort themselves out for now. They're all good to go. It's all an endurance race here in Saudi Arabia. They're just looking for the last couple of laps to go for that very, very, very chaotic sprint that they will do at the end. Ironically, it is a sprint race anyway, but you really look at the sprints for the last 2 laps where people start to make those moves. That being said, right now for the likes of Simaxon and Igor, if they want to try and get into maybe a winning contention, they would have to try and compete up front a lot earlier. They would have to be looking to go for a few moves right now rather than wait to the last few laps. We've got Nifo, who hasn't quite been able to hold on to the back of Charlie. You can see Ticey's a little bit impatient, but they're not able to go for the move. And if it turns off the battery as they get through the next few corners, but on the exit, would they try and go for the move here? Are they going to be looking to try and get into that P2 part of the train quite early on, or will they wait? I don't know. We don't know how it's going to work out, but lap 7 will be coming around, and this is all where it starts to get a little bit like crunch time, and you have to think about things. We've got Igor incredibly close to the back of that Sauber. Not quite in a position to be able to make a move right now, however. They will have to wait, but that being said, the battery is off. They have a look to the inside line. It's going to be Heischler losing the car on entry, and it's going to be Simaxon going through. There's a bit of contact, as that could have been big time issues right there for the championship leader, but no, it just about manages to sort itself out. They've in turn lost the position to Igor, and they almost have lost the DRS here to the top 3, and I say almost, it could be possible unless Simaxon can help them all out. Would he have got a time penalty? I don't know. But Charlie, once again, gets a time penalty here in Saudi Arabia. This could be good news here for their teammate. If they can sit in P2 behind their teammate, they'll be absolutely fine. They've just got to worry about Ticey, because otherwise they will not be able to get that victory after all. Ticey sits in P3. They will have an opportunity to get a double slingshot here, but will they play it right? I don't know. Lap 7 out of 9. We're about to hit lap 8. It's going to be incredibly difficult. Ticey goes for the move on the inside line into the final corner on lap 7 out of 9. They make it work, but it's a little bit of an early call than I expected, to be honest. They're going to look to try and stay P2 for the entire time, but if they turn off the battery, does Nifo, then Charlie's going to be looking to try and go for the move, but they don't actually do it in the end, and these guys stay as they are. That's an interesting call right there. Simaxon is quite close behind. They've got Igor and Heischler, who are incredibly close behind them. It's literally anyone's race at this point. It's just about who has enough ERS on the final lap right here. It's going to be super tough to judge. I don't know who's going to get this, but currently I think Charlie probably has the best opportunity. I know they're not P2 in the train, but just that double slingshot can sometimes be absolutely everything. It really depends on how much Ticey can push, and whether Nifo will be able to secure a good enough exit, and whether Charlie will make a mistake, because if Charlie isn't able to get as good of an exit compared to their teammate, then there is no question about it, they will not be able to make that move. Right now though, Nifo doesn't need to worry about their teammate. They have to make sure that they just get ahead of that Alpine if they want to win the sprint race here in Jeddah. Ticey is going to lead the way as we're about to start the final lap of the Grand Prix. Everyone turning off their battery, and Igor almost going to the back of Simaxon. I don't know what happened to Heischler, but they're 3 seconds almost behind the pack. Here is the final lap. Ticey leads into the first corner. It's all going to be very messy, I assume. Nifo has to stay where they are. Charlie moves to the inside line to go defensive to Sir Maxon to make sure that they don't compete against their teammate. They back off to Sir Maxon. They're looking to try and get it on the straight. Everyone has just turned the battery off. They're all going to slow up in this mid part of the session. That is Heischler who's left the session, so I think they've had some connection issues, unfortunately. That is going to be really frustrating, and they might even drop out the points here. After all of that, that's Igor off in the background. They're going to stay within DRS range just about. I say that they might actually lose it if they're not careful. But here we go. 2 sectors to go in the train, in the slipstream. It's going to be rapid, but who's going to get ahead? When will they make those moves? Nifo's going to be looking probably to make it on the final big straight, not the start-finish straight. They've got to try and get through here without being overtaken by their teammate. Their teammate is a little bit too far back at the moment. Ticey goes to the inside line to try and break for DRS. You can't do that. You've got to make sure that you're alongside before you do it in LSI. They managed to make it work for now. DRS is available here for the Mercedes car. They go around the outside. Charlie's going to try and swoop around as well on the Alpine driver. Will they have the opportunity? They're not going to go to the inside line. They're going to sit right behind, and it's going to be almost into the wall for Nifo as they slide out the final corner. Who's going to cross the line ahead? Charlie's going to get there, but Nifo wins the sprint race in Saudi Arabia. Ticey in P2, Sir Maxon with P3, then it's Charlie. Eager Pro not quite getting ahead of Charlie right there. Devon Young does finish ahead of Heischler. Heischler's AI manages to get them at least 2 points there in the end. Jericho Willis scoring the final point. Then we have Peanuts, Nabil, Tom Robb, and Becken will finish the rest of this race. That was one hell of a race, a very, very difficult one, but Nifo has started the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix in very, very good form. Ticey, of course, Charlie, of course, crossed the line first as they managed to get the DRS to the line, but Nifo wasn't really concerned about that. They were just making sure that they stayed ahead of the other cars that didn't have a time penalty. They were allowed to let their teammate through. It was no problem at all. And that works very, very nicely there for the championship contender of Nifo. Unfortunately for Heischler, they're going to lose out on a few points. It will be about 6 points to the championship. That's that one done. We'll go to the results. Nifo takes the win. Ticey in P2. Then we got Sim Maxon, Charlie, Igor, Devon, Heischler, Jericho Willis, Peanuts, Nabil, Tom Robb, Becken, and frantic DNFing earlier on. Here is the race director, just in case. It is Saudi Arabia. Even though it's a sprint race, you've got a fair few things to look through, just in case. We will see you in a bit for the main race. Thank you everyone for waiting. We will be back very, very shortly for the main qualifying and race. We'll see you in a bit. Hello everyone and welcome back to the LSI F1 World Championship for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, the main race this time. Let's see how it shall go. Now, qualifying has just started. This is the first run. Unfortunately, Sir Maxon has had a little bit of an oopsie and already invalidated that lap, so Charlie will be the next one to set a lap, then Heischler. We are very early in the session, so this is something that we rarely see in LSI. Brilliant to finally get almost a full qualifying session in. Now, we've got a lot of laps to get through, a few tyres to get through as well. Currently, Charlie will be the pace setter. We've got Heischler behind. There was a yellow flag for a moment just in the final corner, but that was because everybody was slowing up to get their laps ready. As you can see, there's not traffic necessarily, but a lot of cars currently out on track. Everyone is out on track at various different points, but mostly all in the kind of like middle sector at this point right now. That's where they're getting to. And Sir Maxon is currently in that Sauber. There's going to be a distant tow here for Charlie that they're going to be able to benefit off of, actually, which is an interesting one. They're going to make it work. They've got to be careful. They move out the way. They don't want to get themselves in any trouble, of course. DRS will be available regardless. It's not like it's been activated. And that was Charlie leaving the session mid-qualifying lap. That's very frustrating right there. Interesting. Now, as we quickly invite them back in, we are going to address something. I think that there must have been some terrible changes to the game in the recent update, and it's just made it so unstable that we can't... Oh, no, I pressed the wrong button, and instead of joining Charlie's, inviting Charlie, I have joined their game, which is incredibly frustrating. So I do apologise to everyone. I will now join back, and hopefully it doesn't cause any more problems than it already has done, which is very frustrating. We've had desync in recent times. We've had this kind of stuff where everybody's have been disconnecting. We've had a few crashes. Yeah, it's incredibly frustrating with everything, but yeah, we should be good. Now, Heisler has crashed into the wall, but everyone, I'll just quickly show you, just for the sake of maybe getting a report code in, if I can. Wow. That's incredible. Right, sorry guys, we're going to quickly restart the qualifying session as quick as we can. We'll be back in a bit. Sorry for the issues. We will be starting very, very soon. We're just loading back in. And for the third time, welcome back, everyone, to the F1 World Championship, where today, for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, now we are fully ready to go for main qualifying and the main race. It took us a while to get there, but we're finally here after a few bugs. Hopefully, this is everything solved, and we should have no further problems. Currently, Tom Robb is the one that will be setting the first lap time. We've got everyone out on track at the moment, except from one car, which is Sir Maxon, who was out on track but has gone back in for whatever reason. So hopefully we can see them set a lap at some point soon. They were going to be the one to set the first lap before we had this restart, but they unfortunately unfortunately invalidated in the first few corners. So maybe they've had a similar situation on their end. Unfortunately, as we talk about invalidations, Tom Robb goes off the circuit as they were just getting through the second sector and almost making the lap complete for the first time. Still 14 minutes on the clock. We've got a long way to go in this session. We finally managed to get ourselves in a qualifying session that we can properly talk through. Tom Robb will go once again, it looks like, and they're not going to go into the pit lane this time. We'll go and see what Frantic can do, as they will be the pace setter here in Saudi Arabia, 28.327. And what will it be for the Williams car right behind them? We're going to get Becken or Jericho Willis, whoever that is, right behind them, actually starting at lap, it looks like. Unfortunately, Becken invalidating at the first corner. So they're going to have to try and get things sorted out for later on very, very soon. So Maxon is out on track. We've got Heischler going to take the provisional fastest time immediately. Charlie right behind. Then we've got Frantic right there. Then Peanuts, Igor in P5 at the moment. Currently, Nabil goes and splits that. We'll see some other cars coming across the line. We will get to see that's Devon Young who will finish their lap, and that will be a P5 for them at the moment. And Ticey comes across the line, P13, now P4. 28.4 at the moment. Most cars have set their initial lap times, but we've got a couple more to go. I say most cars. We've got basically just over half the grid have set their laps right now. So it is most, if you think about it. No one cares. Anyway, we continue. As, of course, Becken has invalidated that lap we saw earlier on. We've got Jericho Willis, who will be coming through the second sector now to try and compete a bit further up the order if they can. So Max on their out lap, they're looking to start their first time lap if they can do so very, very soon. They've got a car up ahead that they're going to get a distant tow from, and I don't know what entirely is going on here. I don't think the Aston Martin was paying attention. I don't know what Peanuts is trying to do there. An interesting one. Yeah, a very interesting one. Anyway, they continue. P10 for them. Right now, they haven't set a lap time. They will jump ahead of their teammate for today regardless, and that is a P8 for now. They get the job done. So Maxon, Nifo, Tom Robb are yet to come through the next few corners. It's going to be Nifo who will set the next time lap, but unfortunately they've invalidated, so it will be Samaxon, which we go on board with to look to see what the Polish driver can do. Of course, Nifo has just come from a win. Oh, that's a big mistake right there. Samaxon struggling in qualifying as they push the car to the limit. As I was saying, Nifo has just come from the sprint race win a few moments ago, with 9 laps in that race. We're going to get 25 laps in this race. However, everything can change. It's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a long race, but it's going to have strategy involved, and that's going to be a pretty crazy one for sure. The championship has been brought a little bit closer since the sprint race, of course. So Nifo taking the win, Heischler managing to finish P6 in the P7 in the end, so they scored 2 points. That's a 6-point difference, and it does mean that Nifo does catch up a little bit, but with a 20-point margin in the championship, it's still a long way to go. It is still a long way to go, but that was a pretty good chunk of points that they've managed to score. Regardless of whether there has been one of the drivers unfortunate in the situation, of course, with Heischler disconnecting towards the end right there. It is the way it goes in racing, and there isn't much you can do about it, unfortunately. But yeah, hopefully there's no more connection issues today for anyone, and we are good to go. That being said, I feel like with the most recent update, the stability of the game isn't the best in the world. That is Ticey, improving on 3-lap-old soft tyres to a 27.907, jumping Charlie's time, but not quite getting there to Heischler, who has done a brilliant 0.5 to start this evening so far. Sorry for the short delay, we're back again. And Charlie currently on their second lap, all over the curb there on the exit as they go to the penultimate DRS kind of activation point you've got here in Jeddah. And then the final corner. Trying to get as close as you can to the inside, but really focusing on that exit, then pulling it to the left-hand side to minimize the track distance as much as you can. What's it going to be? A 27.406, about a tenth, almost a tenth and a half ahead of Heichler's current time, who is going once again to look... Wow, that's impressive stuff right there, all the way over the curb. Are they improving? They're a little bit down. But what a view right there we just had from Heichler here in Saudi Arabia. That was a hell of a launch over the curb. From that camera angle as well. Incredible stuff. But not exactly what you want to be doing. So Maxon has just gone and absolutely smashed it right there. They've gone about a tenth just over of Charlie's time right now. Would we get another front row lockout for the two Polish drivers here in LSI? It could be possible. We'll have to wait and see how that goes, of course. Tacey's on the net lap as well, but we will finish with Heichler to see if they are going to be improving. The final corner is on its way. I apologise for the delay. That is going to be Heichler into the pit lane. Not happy with the lap that they've set right now. Nifo is invalidated. We've got Ticey who's starting their next lap, so we will watch on board with this driver, but I will just double check. I'm trying to have a look at the circuit, but I'm not quite able to get there right now. We will continue to be on board with Ticey. And now we are back as Ticey ends their lap through turn 27. DRS is going to be enabled very shortly. There it is. And they go immediately into the pit lane. They're not going to be happy with that one. They've got plenty of time to go in this session. And then they will get one final run. But that is that done for now. 4 minutes on the clock. They do have to rush a little bit. Just a little bit. Or slightly longer lap compared to last week at Brazil. Last week at Brazil, last week at Mexico, which also had a very short lap. It's last week at Mexico. I really should be maybe drinking some coffee. We've got Igor, who's just gone into the pit lane. So Nabil is the only car out on track at the moment, and I assume they're going to be on their way into the pit lane as well. They will do so, and everyone is going to get their final runs ready here in Saudi Arabia. Is it going to be a busy track with everybody in the pit lane at the moment? They might be all looking for exactly the same strategy right here. We're waiting to see if anyone jumps out of the pit lane at the moment, but it looks like we don't get any news. We do get a car going out. That's going to be Tom Robb. Tom went out very early after we restarted the lobby once again for qualifying here in Saudi Arabia, and they were the first out on track. They're going to do it again for the final stint, it looks like here, and Frantic, believe it or not, was also second. So we've got a little bit of a repeat from earlier on. How about that? We'll see what they can do. Can they get it done well? I don't quite know. Frantic looking to try and have a good result here in the main race if they can. Of course, they did retire from the sprint race as they just turned in a little bit too hard, I think. And yeah, their wheel completely came off. They also did retire in the F1.5 Championship race a couple seasons ago. That was back in 2022 when Pursoon won the championship in the end. But hopefully they can have a bit of a better result. They have the pace. They have brilliant racecraft. When they're in the train, they are a danger to the other cars around them. Not in a bad way at all. So if they can just make sure that they don't get so close to those inside walls, they might be able to make it through the race and get themselves a good result. Let's hope for that, as they maybe have learnt their lesson after what's happened today so far. Tom Robb will start and kick off the final minutes of qualifying here. We've still got Nabil, Nifo, Charlie and Samaxon all in the pit lane at the moment. We're going to have Nabil on their way out now. We're going to get one of the, or both of the Mercedes, but Samaxon's still in the pit lane at the moment. I don't have much time left on the clock here, as Tom Robb is going through the first sector at the moment, through turn 4, over the curb a little bit, as you can afford to do, then bring it back left, once again left, then over to the right, just mounting the curb slightly, but not too much, and that is a big jump right there. That's going to be invalidation, unfortunately, and that is Tom Robb completely jumping it, and it is going to be Frantic who will be next up to try and finish this qualifying lap, but they've invalidated as well, so that's going to be it there for them. We're going to see if maybe another car behind is doing a lap. Would it be? It wouldn't be Samaxon, so it would be maybe the... I know, everyone's on an out lap at the moment. We're going to get the Aston Martin of Egapro, who will be setting the next lap. We'll see what this man can do. Showing really, really good pace back in Brazil and in Mexico, but just not quite getting it right in the end, whether that be due to a mistake or a technical fault. They had a bit of a technical difficulty through Mexico, where they ended up kind of freezing, and it just meant that they went straight into the side of Heisler. Of course, that saw Heisler drop down a little bit, but in the end it didn't work out. That is Igor, unfortunately, invalidating and being very frustrated because they know that is it. That's their qualifying finished. And yeah, not happy at all with what just happened. Heisler retires in the pit lane. That's their qualifying done. They will not be able to improve once again. Everybody is finishing this session and they're not exactly happy with their results. We're going to go on board with Ticey, who will be next to set their lap, and we'll see through sector 2 what can they do. Will they be able to compete up the front? DRS will be available as they come through turn 7 and they go through the bends, the lefts and the rights. DRS open. And the sector line is coming up. Let's see what it's going to be here for Ticey. According to their previous lap, a 10.5. Can they get a little bit more? Currently, they're not looking to get ahead of Nifo. They might be able to get there. Actually, they would be able to get ahead of Nifo, but they wouldn't be able to get ahead of Heisler. They're going to have to find a lot of time here in this final sector, but they've run out of the battery, and I think that might kill the lap. That might kill the rest of the lap. DRS open as they're going to cross the line to be the first one to actually finish a lap here in the final stages of qualifying, and they're not going to be able to get ahead of Heisler, but they do jump their fellow countrymen of Nifo right there, and they make it work nicely. That's going to be both Williams finishing their session. Tom Robb will finish their session. What's it going to be for the Ferrari? It's going to be a P6 right there, jumping a few positions when they can. Devon Young will not be able to make any progress. We're going to get Nabil crossing the line. They go into the pit lane in the end, and it's going to be Charlie or Nifo. It's going to be Charlie going across the line to try and compete, but they will not be able to improve in the end. And then we will see Samaxon also do so. That's going to be Frantic into the pit lane. Samaxon will be next, and then it will be Nifo to finish this session. Samaxon into the pit lane. Nifo is going to be invalidated. That's going to be qualifying done. And in a very interesting fashion, Samaxon gets pole position here in Saudi Arabia with a 27.285. They didn't quite get their final lap in, but it was enough to do a pretty good job right there. And they've managed to find themselves on pole position once again, this time in the F1 tier. They won the last race in Mexico. A brilliant, brilliant effort there for Simaxon. They are holding some pretty good form recently, and I think they can carry it throughout this race. Maybe, just maybe, if they play it right, they can take a victory here again in LSI F1. It is once again the top two from the sprint race. This time it's just flipped. Simaxon takes pole position, Charlie in P2, then we got Heisler in P3. That's the rest of the grid. We'll go through the race director just in case, and then we will be back for the main race. We will see you in a bit. Ready, hold, go! Who's going to get it into turn one? Simaxon on pole position. It looks like they're going to hold it. The inside line will not be available for Charlie, but it will be. They stick their nose in, but other than that, they will just have to slot into P2. Heisler in P3, getting a brilliant start, staying ahead of Ticey. And then we do have Nifo sitting right behind. It looks like everything's been clean so far. So good. It's side by side, though, with Frantic and Tom Rob. And already, it looks like they're at a DRS range. Tom Rob goes off the circuit. Frantic goes back through. I say that Frantic goes back through. It's Devon Young who goes through. Is there damage on that Ferrari? There is a big bit of damage, unfortunately. I don't quite know what happened. We're going to get Ticey and Charlie switching positions, as Charlie has really not had a good lap, making a mistake it must have been, as they go from P2 down to P4 in the first sector or so. Frantic trying to catch up to the top cars, and they are doing so. Devon Young is looking to try and do exactly the same thing, but do any other cars also have damage? I don't know. Yes, Devon does have front right end plate damage, unfortunately, but around this circuit you might be able to make it work if everybody's in the DRS train and bunching up if they turn their batteries off. Do not give up just yet. It's not all over. Looking further behind, are there any other cars with damage? I think we're good to go, but I don't quite know. Just trying to get a better view of it. The Aston, the Williams is not in trouble, but we are going to get peanuts, unfortunately, with damage. Jericho Willis is fine. So 3 cars with damage. Will they go into the pit lane? Devon Young stays out, as I assume they probably would do so. We do unfortunately get peanuts, and Tom Rob into the pit lane on the exit of, or on the end of the first lap in the end. So Simaxon leads the way. How about that? We've got the Sauber leading the way. We've got a mistake there from the McLaren, however, as Ticey is not able to get past. And now DRS range could be here, possible for Simaxon to break away. Are they going to get the job done? We've got Charlie, who wants to have a go here on Ticey, but not quite able to make it work. They have to stay behind for now. Simaxon is really trying to make this as an opportunity to break away if possible. Heisler was pushing on the exit at 13. Now they're go through 17, DRS is not going to be available. It's going to probably be available when we get to the next DRS straight, because Taisi, I assume, will get the slingshot here on Heischler as Heischler turns the battery off. But no, they both turn the battery off, and they're both going to lose out. So now, all of a sudden, Samaxon breaks another tenth and a half or so, maybe even 2 tenths they might be able to break away here because of that momentum dropping back so much. I don't think Samaxon is going to need to worry. That being said, I think the detection point might just about be there, and they are very lucky that they've managed to hold on to the back of that Sauber, because that could have been absolutely everything game over. Charlie sits right behind. They're looking to try and make the move here on the McLaren driver. The McLaren just getting swallowed up after the last kind of half a lap. They save the battery. Everybody sees that and they go, you know what, if you're going to save the battery, I want to get in front of you. And it's all game over right there, because everyone just goes absolutely crazy unless you give in. Heischler lets it go, and they will sit in their position for now. Frantic, currently P6. Just a little bit too far out of this. They do tap the wall on the inside. They've made a mistake as well. Unfortunately, as they go over the curb, they've got to try and make sure that they don't do that again, because they were so close to DRS. They're still so close to DRS. They just need a little bit more to find if they can do so, and they'll be good to go. Devon Young not too far away either, but they do need a few things to go right here for their race if they want to make it work. It's not easy. They've got pressure behind as well, with Igor and Nabil pretty close, looking to try and maybe challenge within the lap or so, with the DRS being pretty handy around this circuit. Samaxon leads 7 tenths right now. DRS, of course, was available there for Taisi as they got the slingshot. Will Charlie now go for that P2 position? I think they probably will here on Taisi, as Taisi locks up the rear end a big amount right there. They keep it in a straight line and they keep it out the wall, I believe, but Charlie's not going to take a second invitation. They're going to go straight to the inside line and they're going to try and get some good momentum as Taisi backs off, not willing to challenge it. But still a compromise line there for Charlie on entry. It meant there was a little bit of confusion as they both went into the first corner. Hopefully neither of them have got damage there. They've got to still be careful that it doesn't result in anything more. But for now, lap 4 of the 25, we've got a long way to go in this race. This is really a thinking race. It's an endurance race. It's so hard to deal with around here, Saudi Arabia. You've got so many high-speed corners, and you've got ERS to think about, but tyres also. The high-speed tyres, they can be deadly. They can all of a sudden drop when you don't even realise. You've got to be paying attention at all times, especially when you've got a car directly ahead of you, reducing your downforce and increasing your tyre temperatures. It's not easy to deal with. Currently, Samaxon is still doing a phenomenal job of staying ahead quite nicely. Charlie has got more pressure behind on Taisi than he has to be able to put pressure on Samaxon here. 5 tenths. It's going to close up though, because DRS will be nice and simple here for Charlie, as we don't quite know what these guys are running on the downforce. That's the thing. So maybe Samaxon had a gap because the cars were fighting behind and then just had some decent straight line speed. But yeah, we won't know until it gets to the final stages, but at that time they'll have probably saved all their batteries to really make it work. Charlie, DRS, catching a lot, even though they were on none with the battery right there. Very tight over track limits on the inside. I don't know if they got a warning. I think they will have just avoided it, but they had the time penalty there in the sprint race that plagued them. They had a time penalty in Mexico that plagued them, and they had a time penalty in Brazil that plagued them and took them out contention for the victory. This circuit is no easier. 4 time penalties, if not probably one of the most difficult ones, maybe behind Mexico. Can they manage to make it work this time around? We will see how it goes. It definitely can be a good result here, as that's a big mistake there for Samaxon. They go into the wall. Unfortunately for Charlie, they're not going to be able to be in a position to make that move. Samaxon just losing the car on the exit of turn 13. It looked like they maybe had a bit of understeer, so they had to try and work the car around that, and then just on the throttle with a bit of odd steering lock, and that just made everything completely change. And now they've got Charlie, Samaxon, Sorry, Charlie and Ticey incredibly close to the back of them, and they're just trying to find their way round. Can they find an opportunity to make a move here? Would they want to? If Ticey's not going to challenge, why would they? We're going to get maybe Nifo looking to the inside of Heischler, but no, they don't worry about it for now. There's a long old race to go right here. Frantic, 2 seconds behind at the moment, haven't been able to hold on. They're hoping that the cars ahead fight, but they're not really doing so. That being said, all of a sudden we've got 2 positions from both Mercedes. They're looking to try and make progress. It's the championship contenders, as it looked like there was maybe a bit of a wheel bang between the 2 right there of Nifo and Eichler. Charlie makes the move here on Samaxon. We've got a new race leader here in Saudi Arabia. For the first time, actually, as Samaxon led from pole position earlier on. That's a big mistake there for Heischler, and unfortunately they're going to lose out to the car ahead, or I say behind now ahead. They do hold on to DRS. They've managed to do that quite nicely. Damage limitation, they would have probably had to take a track limit warning there, unfortunately, in order to stay with the pack. It's better to stay with the pack and take the warning than not. Of course, unless you're going to get a time penalty, then it's maybe not so worth it, but you need to try and hold on to DRS. Heischler is a very, very lucky driver right there. They have got to make sure that they do not do that again, otherwise it could be a different story, very much so. No car is safe from that regardless. Nifo is very close to the back of Ticey. They're looking very racy. They're looking to charge. Charging is Ticey on the battery. We've got a yellow, as that is going to be, it looks like Devon Young, maybe. No, it's Nabil who's had a big issue right there. The safety car's brought out. Who's going to be going into the pit lane? First of all, are we going to get some late calls? We are going to get both Mercedes in. Nifo is going to have to double stack after all of this. What a shame there, right there for Nifo. It's just going to happen if you've got a teammate fighting up front with you, of course. Who will go onto what tyre? What will it be for everyone? Charlie goes onto the hard tyre. We don't actually know what they started with because we weren't looking. I do apologise for that, but there was a fair bit to go off from what we were watching, of course. But Samaxon will continue to lead. Charlie sits behind. I say Samaxon. Was Samaxon leading, or was Charlie just lost the lead of the Grand Prix? I can't quite remember. I'm all over the place. Unfortunately for Nifo, they have dropped behind Frantic. Frantic's now back into this race, and yeah, it's a difficult one. Of course, Nifo just managed to make that move ahead of Heischler, so they made some progress. They go 1 step forward, but now 2 steps back. They are on fresh tyres, and they're good to go to the end of the Grand Prix. So is Joko Willis, so is Devon and Peanuts. But the medium tyre runners are going to have a little bit of a harder time, unfortunately. It's going to be a difficult one, although they will be able to have a good chance of making this to the end. Devon Young getting a time penalty, unfortunately, for exceeding track limits right there. So that is Eagle with a 3 second, Devon with a 3 second, 6 second there for Becken. That's something to watch out for later on, of course. I do believe, as we saw Heischler go off the circuit a few moments ago, they will be on at least 1 track limit, and they've got to make sure that they take care of that for later on in the race. Similar situation, I think, for Charlie. We saw them get very close to track limits on the first few laps of this race, but we're not entirely sure. So we'll have to see about that later on. Now, Samaxon leads the way. I don't think we're going to be going racing right away, as Tom Robb isn't quite onto the back of the pack right now. They've got a little bit to catch, and then they will be back once again in this race. It would be good to see everyone back in this race for the first time since the first lap, of course. In the meantime, if that's going to be the case, we will be right back. We're back once again. We're going to double check the time penalty situation. It hasn't changed, of course. It shouldn't be changing. And we should be good to go once again. Racing very soon. Here we go. St. Maxon will be restarting the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix with Charlie reacting right behind. The safety car is coming into the final corner now. They will be going into the pit lane shortly after that. And then we can go at any point right there. When will St. Maxon go? Will they go early? Will they go late? It's a long way to the first corner. They've got a few things to think about here. And they have gone once again. Here we go. Green flag racing. Charlie gets a brilliant reaction. Will they be able to come back into the first corner and maybe lead this Grand Prix? I don't think so. It's a good enough start right there. We're going to get Heischler looking to challenge here with Ticey round the outside. It will be the inside immediately after. Going tight over the inside curb right there through turn 2. Then trying to bring it left if they can. Squeeze the Alpine. They're going to go side by side through turn 4. But the inside line is going to be superior, and that Alpine manages to get ahead. Frantic has lost that position immediately here to Nifo. Nifo was able to make that move. Nicely done on the restart. That's going to be a big mistake there for Heischler. Maybe a bit of damage if they were not lucky for Nifo. I think they'll be good to go. The side-by-side moment there with Becken and Devon, the rivals in F1.5. There's a big moment for some sort of car. Was that Eagle Pro? I don't quite know. It's still side-by-side and making moves right there. Devon loses out, or no, gains the position here on Becken, but stays right behind Nabil. Now we've got Nabil right behind. Unfortunately, once again, we've got a safety car bug, so we will be just seeing the safety car icon up the top left. I do apologise. St. Maxon leads the way here on lap 9 out of 25. A brilliant job right there on the restart. Nobody willing to compete because DRS is not available. Why would you do so anyway? DRS will be available halfway through the next lap, however. And it's all going to get, once again, very, very racy. As, of course, we're now kind of at a rolling start situation. Everyone's a lot closer. After the first lap of green flag racing, we're going to get the Aston Martin of Igor looking to try and make the move here on Frantic, but they just stay behind for now. They won't be making that move after all. They will just let it go. Everyone is incredibly close. DRS is available, I think, for every car. It's still looking pretty good. 7 tenths of Jerko Willis. That looks like it could be the biggest gap. We've got Frantic and Nifo, a very big gap as well. 7 tenths, 7.5 tenths. We do actually have Jerko Willis, who's now lost DRS range potentially, as Devon Young decides to make that move to try and see if they can bring back that DRS range before it's lost. DRS will kick in now. I don't know if Devon's been able to do enough right there. That could be a big troublesome situation unless everyone fights in these early stages of the safety car restart. Do not give up yet. They could still be in a good position. They've got the better tyres to go the longer distance in this race, that's for sure. So I have to keep an eye out for that a little bit later on. Of course, they might be able to make a bit of a comeback on the medium tyres at least. They are very close to that DRS range, but they're not going to be happy because they've got a lot of work to do. Charlie sits in P2 at the moment, not doing anything about it just for now. They just sit right behind. They're not being pressurised by Ticey. We are going to see a pressurised moment here with the championship contenders. We've got Heischler trying to hold on ahead. They've got the outside line. Ticey just seeing if they can distract the other cars ahead of them if they make a reaction and allow them to go through, but it's not going to happen. We're going to get Heischler and Nifo eventually sort themselves out, and they continue, but this time Nifo is going to be a P4 ahead of Heischler, who has lost that position. Now they've got pressure right behind from the medium tyre runner of Igapro, who's ahead of Frantic. Frantic is looking to try and see if they can catch up, but they've got pressure behind as well, so they've got to be careful. Igor is very, very quick at the moment, and I'm sure they're going to want to try and get ahead of as many cars as they possibly can do in this race. Nabil right there. Becken has made that move ahead of Devon Young, and they've now lost 1.9 seconds instead, so they've lost about, that's 8 tenths with this battling. So Devon Young is going to be very frustrated. They seem to be frustrated after the sprint race because they lost DRS for a similar situation. So now they've got the same situation right here. Hopefully they can can catch back up. 2.2 seconds. It's only getting bigger right now at the moment. Charlie not looking to make that move, but they might be forced to very shortly as Tyce's going to go to the inside line here on the Mercedes. They almost have an issue right there with Nifo, who is incredibly close to the back of that Alpine. They managed to sort it out between them. Tyce, they keep moving left and right, looking to try and almost put pressure on, but still not really doing anything about it. They're going to get Nabil to the inside line possibly, but they back off eventually. That is a purple lap though, it looks like there for the Racing Bull. We're going to get Tyce go for the move on Charlie after all. Turn 4, almost side by side. Charlie backs off and they sort it out eventually. Tyce now sitting in P2. Simaxon has an opportunity here to break away. They've got that 5/10 gap. It's a bit ambitious really what I'm talking about there. They're not really going to break away on a 5/10 gap, but it looked like something that could be the case as they were slightly slowed down after recently making that move. You've got to adjust to the dirty air becoming slightly cleaner. Although not really, because there's a car ahead of them immediately. I'm completely waffling and I'm going to reset, and we're now looking a little bit further behind. Unfortunately, a couple cars have lost out. I say lost out, they haven't lost out. Peanuts has got a time penalty, but they are just battling at the moment. They are currently not on their own. This train is led by Jericho Willis. Then we got Beck and Peanuts, Tom Rob. Devon Young is now on their own as they've managed to catch up a little bit. We want to look at Nabil, who's very close to the back of Frantic, and I think they want to try and have a go here on the Haas car. We're going to get Eagle also looking to go for the move around the outside. Frantic has gone deep into the corner. That's going to be a big mistake right there for Eagle, who goes into the wall. What a shame for Nabil, lining up a perfect move right there into the first corner, but it didn't quite come out the right way. That's going to be Tyce making that move. Simaxon lets it go. Will Nabil be able to challenge? No. They're going to have to wait once again. And Eagle's not going to go into the pit lane. I think that's the wise move to do around Saudi Arabia with the situation that they're in. Would they be able to hold on to DRS range though? I don't think so. Unfortunately, they have gone over the curb and extended track limits. That's going to be Peanuts retiring on the exit of turn 4. So I think they've done exactly the same thing right there as Frantic did in the sprint race. We once again will halt this Grand Prix, and everyone is going to probably go to a fresh set of medium tyres if they have them available, and we're going to get a mad dash to the end of this Grand Prix. Will Tyce make that call to go into the pit lane and everyone follow on? I think that will be the case. Unfortunately, once again for Nifo, now getting ahead of Heichler on lap 13, almost exactly the same distance from where we first got that safety car restart, or safety car deployment I should say. He's gonna have to double stack again with his teammate and lose the positions, and this time it could be that they lose a bit more as everyone's a lot closer. They're gonna probably lose out to Frantic, Nabil, possibly Eagle, but Eagle's got that damage, so actually not Eagle, maybe Devon if they're unlucky. So I think we could see Nifo go down to P8 here, most likely. Tyce is going to go into the pit lane and everyone will have to follow on. Nifo of course will have to follow on as well, but they don't, they stay out. Interestingly, they're maybe confident that they can maintain this pace on this hard tyre and they'll be good to go. Maybe they're thinking that the medium tyre would get a little bit too hot, maybe a little bit too old by the time of the end of the Grand Prix, and they're still confident that they can stay out. I don't quite know. We're going to get Devon Young doing the same thing actually. So does Jericho Willis and Tom Robb. So they're going to be in this situation where they might actually have a pretty decent opportunity. And the good news is for Nifo is that 3 cars behind them have done the same thing. So not only does that mean that they've got similar competitors right behind them, but they've got almost a wall of hard tyre runners until the medium tyre runners do get through. Now those medium tyre runners are going to be incredibly quick and it's going to be virtually impossible to be able to keep them behind, but at least maybe for a couple of laps or so they might be able to do something. And just maybe if those medium tyres were to die off earlier than the hards do, then Nifo might still be in this race. It's not going to be easy. It's probably going to be the underdog situation right here. It's just what they've got to deal with, unfortunately, if they're behind their teammates. So it's a difficult one. It's the way it goes. We've got Devon Young, we've got Tom Robb with 3-second time penalties. We've got a 9-second for Beckett and a 6-second there for Igor, unfortunately. But more importantly, Igor will be back in this race after getting that damage. That is good news, of course. Everyone should have a fresh front wing and we'll be able to go racing once again here in Saudi Arabia very, very shortly. I may have been mistaken. We're not getting the call in. I do apologise. That is one hell of a barrier right there on the inside. I don't know if we can get to see that right there. Yeah, we missed it, unfortunately. We'll see it on a different lap. But that barrier is pretty destroyed in that final corner. Something that I haven't seen before since this recent patch. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. We will also see how the restart goes for everyone. It's going to be interesting. Of course, Tom Robb is the last of the hard tyre runners right now, with Tyson on that medium. Lap 15 out of 25. Once we go for the restart, we will have exactly 10 laps of this Grand Prix remaining. That's only one lap more than what we had in the sprint race. So we're effectively going to get the sprint race 2.0 around the Jeddah Corniche circuit. Who will be able to get ahead? Nifo, the race winner of that Grand Prix, will once again lead the way. But anything can happen here. 10 laps in, will all those mediums die out compared to the hards? Or are they just going to try and do their absolute best to hold on? Of course, the medium tyres do have to risk overtaking cars, which is always going to be an issue. And that's what Nifo's looking for here. The safety car will come in. And we will once again go racing. Nifo will lead the way and Devon will react. Will they try and go early? They backed off and they've gone very, very early. That is a brilliant restart there from Nifo Jan, learning from the best, their teammate in previous seasons, and they make it work nicely. That is a 4/10 gap, and there is a big spread between the cars behind, giving them their best chance of competing, and that's contact right there with Tyson and Simaxon. As Tyson was looking to the inside, they move back across, and Simaxon sticking their nose in. That's Devon Young retiring after the safety car restart, and the safety car once again is deployed immediately. What have I just seen? I don't know what happened. I don't know if Devon just lost the car, but how about that? One of the most chaotic safety car restarts I've just ever witnessed. And two major crashes right there. Tyce's down the order. They're going to be incredibly frustrated. But Devon Young retires from the race. We're now down to 11 drivers. Nifo is going to stay up front. Will they go into the pit lane this time? I don't know. Because everyone is still so close together. You will guarantee yourself losing out. Would anybody else try and go into the pit lane? I don't quite know. What a shame right there. Tom Robb and Jericho Willis would have been right behind Devon right there, but they don't have damage on their cars. So I am just wondering if those old hard tyres were just a little bit too cold, and I think Devon has maybe spun the car. I don't know exactly what happened. We haven't got any confirmation, so as far as I know, that's what happened, and that's all we can really say. Very, very disappointing there for the safety car restart. Charlie sits right here. Do we have damage on Sir Maxon's car, and do they have to go into the pit lane? It looks like they might have been incredibly lucky to not get damaged right there. We will do an extra lap right here. No one looks to go into the pit lane, but we will get Ticey most likely in. Wow, well, what a restart. That didn't really end up being a restart, unfortunately. Everything that could have probably gone wrong went wrong. But for Nifo, they continue, and they've still got 2 cars immediately behind them that are on exactly the same tyre. Charlie, Sir Maxon, they've got a lot to try and work around here. Of course, they need to try and stay ahead. They need to try their best and stay ahead of the medium tyre runners for as long as they can. The medium tyre runners need to be as aggressive as they can, because now all of a sudden they've got less laps of this Grand Prix to go once again racing. We're going to be restarting a lap 18 out of 25. Eight laps of racing it will be. I will be honest, that is probably one of the most soon safety car deployments that I've seen since the safety car's just gone in. Usually you don't see immediately a safety car restart, but it seems to be that case. Actually, I don't know if we will be going racing again. We'll just go over the sector line and see if we get that confirmation or not. But yeah, it's a frustrating one that we do have to go again. It's actually going to go again, sorry, I do apologise. So we're actually going to have 7 laps of racing. And this is only good news here for Nifo. And this is exactly the opportunity they were hoping for when they stayed out. Of course, staying out will seem to be the more disadvantaged strategy. And I think it still does seem to be the more disadvantaged strategy here. But it just kind of It gave them maybe an opportunity to stay ahead, not get involved in any issues behind, and that's exactly what's happened. Of course, Ticey and Sir Maxon, they were involved in their incidents and they dropped back. We're going to get actually Igor, no, sorry, not Igor, we're going to get Ticey back into the pit lane, unfortunately, so I don't know if they're going to go back to a set of medium tyres or a fresh set of soft tyres. They're going for another fresh set of softs, so that's very wise, because they're going to be incredibly quick for the entire rest of the Grand Prix. I do apologise there. So we'll see what they can do in these final moments for the Grand Prix here. In Saudi Arabia, as I said, 7 laps of racing will remain. Nifo will lead the way, and although it's still looking like a tall order to be finishing ahead of any of the cars behind them, it is still possible. Can Nifo once again get a good safety car restart as they did before? And will it finally restart nice and smoothly and we can once again go racing? We won't be getting many more safety cars regardless, whether we run out of laps or run out of safety car deployments. You can only have a certain amount in a Grand Prix, but if this has been a dramatic Grand Prix, it's been one of the most dramatic Grand Prix that we've had. I am sure of that. Nifo will wait for that sector line and they'll get the confirmation that they can once again go racing here in Saudi Arabia. We're just waiting for that confirmation to kick in. It's not quite come through just yet. There you go. A little bit later on, but still plenty of time to warm up those tyres. They will now bunch up the grid, ready to go racing once again. It looks like they've gone for a very early safety car restart, limiting on the throttle, but they've managed to combat it unfortunately, Jericho Willis hasn't done so much, and I think that's exactly what Nifo was looking for here. Incredibly difficult stuff, but Charlie's going to have an opportunity here into the first corner immediately. They send it on the brakes. Tom Robb is going to get a big rear lock. They manage to stay side by side and get it done nicely. A brilliant job there from Charlie. They get ahead of the Ferrari just about. Now they've got to try and get ahead of the Williams on those cold and old tyres. But in the meantime, Nifo's got a 1.4 second gap. Absolutely incredible. Exactly what they need to do. They know what they need to do. Frantic gets a time penalty in the meantime. There's a lot of cars off in the background. Sir Maxon, I think, must have gone off as they would have been battling with Frantic. Heischler stays behind Sir Maxon at the moment. They're trying to make some moves. We've got the inside line available for Nabil as they almost went for the move there on the Haas, but they don't quite get it. And Jericho Willis still stays in front of Charlie on that medium tyre, and now it's 1.8 seconds. This is crazy stuff right here. Those hard tyres are just so old and they can't quite make them work, and Charlie's just at the mercy, but they're gonna get ERS and DRS possible here to use and maybe make that move into turn 27. It's going to have to be done on the brakes. DRS will not be available for Jericho Willis. If they do get it done, there is a lot of switching and moving, and we're going to get Heischler looking to try and have a go here. Still, Charlie doesn't get the move done, but they do now as there's a drag race into the first corner. Heischler trying to get ahead of now Sir Maxon as they were just fighting with Tom Robb, but Tom Robb stays in front after all of that. Absolutely incredible stuff. We've got Becken, who had a look to the inside, didn't quite get the job done, and they stay where they are. Everything is going all over the place right here on the safety car restart, but more importantly, Nifo leads the way, 1.4 seconds, and they've still got a couple laps to go in order to finish ahead. Will it be possible? Jericho Willis gets a time penalty. No one's got DRS over behind as Tom Robb and Sir Maxon are trying to sort each other out as they make that move. Heischler looks to the inside line. Will they get it on the traction through turn 13? They might do so. They have the outside line. They opt to go out of that one. There's no point in risking that. They both collide with the wall. They'll get a terrible run on Sir Maxon, and if they're not careful, they'll lose out to DRS here. DRS will kick in for both cars as Heischler was looking to try and challenge, but they realised it wasn't going to be possible. DRS might have been lost here, but I think Tom Robb's just about got it here on the Sauber car. Everyone is so close right there. There is the rear wing open here for the Ferrari car, and it is going to be Heischler still looking to make that move. However, Nabil's to the inside line, making it 3 wide. They backed out for... I do not believe what I've just seen! The championship leader is out, and the safety car is out again. Oh no, 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 no. How did that happen? How on earth did that happen? Nifo has overtaken the safety car, I think incorrectly, unless they've managed to do it. That was close. All of a sudden it looked like the other championship contender was going to be out of this Grand Prix, but they just about stay in as Tom Robb was in the middle right there, I think, as Heischler was trying to make the move on the outside line, but Nabil trying to find their way through as well. That just kind of meant that Tom Robb didn't have much place to go, and they ended up understeering, demon dragging, and they're both in the wall. Tom Robb's got damage, Nabil's got damage. That was absolutely devastating, and all of a sudden everything is going to close back up with, of course, Nifo scoring greatly in the sprint race, and now this happening. I don't know what to say. I do not know what to say. What could have happened has happened. I said it earlier on, but then even more has gone on top of that. This is the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix for you, with DRS being king. Would we see a safety a pit stop here for Nifo? I don't think we would. That being said, other cars might go for softs. If they go for softs, everyone else will go for softs. You can see Charlie backing up here. They're backing up to try and go into the pit lane, so all of a sudden everybody else is going to be probably looking looking to do the same, and you do see Nifo going into the pit lane for the soft compound of tyre. We're going to be going racing on lap 24 regardless, so a few cars do have to really be careful on what they do with this pit stop window, of course. Soft tyres will also be on here for Charlie. Whether many people have softs available, I don't know. Jericho Willis stays out, so does Nabil, as they're looking to try and go one lap further, I assume, on this safety car with that damage, or they're just hoping that they can finish as high as they can without making a pit stop. I don't quite know what they're looking for there. Ticey, he's had a really tough race, of course, since that crash with Samaxon. They're looking to try and maybe just make some moves on track position, hoping that it all works out. We've got Becken, Eagle, and Tom Rob. I say Becken and Eagle not pitting. Tom Rob obviously didn't pit, but we just had Samaxon, Frantic, and Charlie, the kind of front runners from earlier on in this Grand Prix. They've all made those moves to go into the pit lane, but no one else did. So now we've just got old tyre runners right behind, and Nifo is on a perfect opportunity here to make this move. Nifo was able to stay ahead despite making that pit stop, because the other cars behind were a little bit delayed, and now Charlie didn't get the job done. They lost out. How did they lose out to Simaxon and Frantic? They must have got held by the pit crew more than they thought, and they've ended up losing 2 positions to Samaxon and Frantic, but I don't know how Nifo hasn't done that. If that's the case, that's incredibly crazy. I don't know what to say. We're not going to be going racing for a while until the next lap. We will get half a lap of DRS on lap 25, but another lap to relax for everyone here. We might see a few more pit stops from a few cars. Whether that will be the case, I don't quite know. Alrighty, no more pit stops. Everyone's looking to be where they are. This is going to be the restart, and there will be no more safety cars. You cannot deploy another one with 2 laps to go. It's all or nothing. It's going to be absolutely hell for leather. We're going to have Nifo on fresh tyres with the softs, the fastest compound you can possibly have. We're going to have Jericho Willis on the slowest slick tyre you can possibly have, and on 16 lap old tyres. That is going to be a tough feat with front wing damage Nabil, who's going to be quick in a straight line with that, but their tyres aren't the best and their damage isn't the best. Ticey's going to have a great opportunity. That's actually going to be contact with Jericho Willis and Ticey, so a 10-second time penalty, I believe, was that added right there. Unfortunately there for Nabil. Whether they'll try and get that removed, I don't quite know, but we'll see how it goes. Ticey's going to be looking to try and make some moves if they can. Almost everyone with time penalties except from P1, P8 and P10. Here we go, once again racing, this time for the final time in Saudi Arabia. Nifojan leads the safety car restart for the 2nd time here. What can they do? I say the 2nd time, the 3rd time here in Jeddah, in the night sky. And they've gone very early once again. They know that they can do, and they know how to work with the speed limiter. They made a bit of contact with the wall, but right now, 8/10 splits them in P2. Nabil has to wait until the start-finish line. They now look to make the move, and they will give it a shot to the inside line. Jericho Willis brakes as late as they possibly can with those tyres, but they have to back out. And Ticey is looking to sweep around the outside. No! They're going to demon drag into the wall, and there goes through Becken, and Eager Pro will come through as well. Still side by side with Jericho Willis and Ticey. Jericho Willis loses out big time and goes to the back of the field immediately. What a shame. Tom Robb and Sir Max on the side by side, trying to go side by side at least. It's not going to quite work out, and there goes Haas of Frantic on the fresh tyres, and Charlie is going to try and follow on through as well, and it's going to be no contest right there with the grip of that tyre. That will be that. 2.1 seconds does Nifo have to Nabil. Becken sits right behind. Looking at the time penalty situation, it's all over the place. I don't know who's going to finish where in this Grand Prix. The rest of lap 24 will come to a close shortly, and then we'll get half a lap of DRS on lap 25, the final lap of the Grand Prix. Absolutely incredible stuff right there for Becken, who's managed to make this work. Now we've got Igor making that move instead. They know that if they can stay behind Nabil right here, they can get maybe a move on the final corner of the Grand Prix, maybe up to the line, and make it work. Contact with the wall as both Igor and Becken go through. They're on equal tyres. They've got some slightly fresher compounded tyres on the soft tyres for Ticey and Frantic right behind them. Ticey's looking for the inside line. Nabil goes through side by side with Becken. Becken's trying to hold on. Will they be able to get it on Ticey? I don't think so. They're going to have to let it go. The Alpine pushing with all they possibly can right now. As these cars fight with their time penalties, it only makes it easier for Charlie and Sir Maxon to stay ahead, but will they be able to keep themselves clean towards the final sector, the final two sectors? I don't know what to say. This is absolutely crazy, and it's side by side into turn 13 as Eagle's trying to make it work, but Nabil, he spotted it. He realised it was side by side, so he could lift off and get the DRS to the end. He knows that he's going to try and get a time penalty removed here, and they might be able to make this work. They might be able to make this a P2. Igor is going to lead this train. I don't think it's going to matter because they're going to probably be passed by many cars as Ticey's looking to be very quick. We've got the Williams of Becken also looking to push. Nifo is going to come around the final few corners and we'll see them win the Grand Prix. But Igor, he leads the way. Nabil sits behind. There's almost contact again, but they do back off. Igor is staying ahead. Nifo wins. It's a squabble. I cannot see what's going on. Igor is going to get it, and Sim Maxon will finish ahead of Charlie. And then we got Ticey, who just about finishes right there in P4. I literally had no idea what to say because I had no idea where anybody would finish that Grand Prix. With the time penalties to the absolute limit on how crazy it can be, no one was safe. But this man was. And Nifo has won the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Nifo wins, Sir Maxon in P2 and Charlie in P3. We've got Ticey, Frantic, Tom Robb, Jericho Willis, Igor, Jericho Willis, Becken, Nabil, Heischler, Devon and Peanuts, of course, with Heischler, Devon and Peanuts DNFing earlier on. That's the rest of the race director. And this is the pit stop section. I'm going to once again go through the order. Nifo wins with fastest lap to make it maximum points. Sim Maxon in P2. Then we got Charlie, Ticey, Frantic, Tom Robb, Eager Pro, Jericho Willis, Becken, Nabil, and DNFing earlier on was Heischler, Devon Young, and Peanuts. That was crazy. We will see you in a bit for the post-race interviews. Hello everyone, welcome to the post-race interviews of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. That was one of the craziest races I have seen in a long time. Heischler, it's not the way you wanted it to end, of course. It was difficult. You still scored points in the sprint race because your AI did manage to finish in 7th place, so 2 points do go to your name in the end. But yeah, that must be really frustrating right there. Championship rival, of course, winning both races, and then you DNF from that one. Can you take us through it?
Yeah, not much to say. Is it? The race went quite well until the moment. To be honest, everything went quite well. People probably thought I had no pace, but I didn't see the point in really pushing. So I was just I just wanted to be in the position I was, but I made sometimes mistake, and that's why people overtook me. But I was fine with it. Sad about that first safety car, which kind of fucked up my strategy. I wanted to undercut everyone. So yeah, it's annoying. And this incident is, yeah, I don't know whose fault, but it's just annoying to lose the championship this way, like the championship lead, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, it's it was a difficult one. It was a difficult angle for us to see, so we'd have to look on boards, of course, and leave it to the stewards afterwards. So yeah, very, very disappointed to see you out there. I'm very sorry to see that one. Of course, as you mentioned, you do lead the championship lead, lose the championship lead, but it is still going to be a close one. So I don't think you should give up just yet.
Doubt.
It's still going to be close. So do not give up yet. It's never over until it's over. Belgium is the next one in 2 weeks' time. Do you think you can do well there? Do you like that circuit?
I don't know. The race of yesterday and the race of today felt just weird in general with my focus or something. Just in general, the feeling was just weird. So I'm not really confident for anything at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Well, I guess if you can get a little bit of experience in here and there before the race, of course, then maybe you can get back to the normal state. Hopefully you can figure that out. Of course, as I said, there is a break week, so you do have 2 weeks to kind of find that. So I hope you can enjoy the breakaway and come back stronger. Thank you very much, Heis, and we'll see you next time. And we move on to Taisi. That was a very, very tough one, up and down the order, just at every opportunity basically. Pitting, of course, towards the end, but you didn't actually pit on the final safety car to try and make some moves. It paid off, I think.
I mean, I don't know what happened, to be honest. The first few laps were pretty good. I got into the lead, and then after the second safety car, and then it all, I can't swear, then it all went badly, basically. I got hit into turn 1, gave me damage, and a time penalty, so hopefully that can get removed. And then went to softs because that was basically the only tire I had left. I had only used hards. I used both my mediums and also used all my softs, so I wasn't used softs for the last 8 laps. And then decided not to pit on the last safety car to hopefully make some moves. But then I don't know what happened. I just got put in the wall after turn 2. I don't know, just didn't leave any space, and then I just got put into the wall and lost a lot of positions. And then made a decent recovery to P4, hopefully podium after my penalty gets removed. But yeah, and then yeah, that was basically my race. Just a lot of incidents, but don't feel like I did anything wrong, to be honest, the whole race.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, of course, from your perspective, that is good to hear, and if you can get that removed, then that would be a lovely result towards the end after a very crazy race. Thank you very much for giving it your best there. Belgium, whether you're there or not, is that a good circuit for you? Do you like it? It's a pretty long one.
Yeah, I like the circuit, but I don't know if I haven't played Spa so long, so I don't know how good I will be, but I enjoy driving the circuit, so we'll see in 2 weeks.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Tyson. Really good effort today, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
And we move on to Charlie. Charlie, that was tough. Pole position in the sprint, of course. A brilliant job there. A front row in the main race. But then pitting. Do you think that was still the right call to pit on that final safety car restart? Or final safety car?
No, I'm gonna give it to Nifo because it was the right call to like stay in front of all the chaos that happened. I also had a little bit of front wing damage, which I got from from the safety car before, and people were just speeding up, braking all the time. It was like hard to keep a consistent gap, and I just tapped a driver in front of me, got some damage. I had to pit and fix the wing. I don't know if I stayed out. I don't know. Maybe I could have got a better result, but with the damage, I don't know. Maybe people would just like overtake me in the end. I don't know. Like I'm gonna say this. Like this was like one of the worst races, like around me. Like I've done well. Like this was a good race for me personally, but just the fucking chaos that happened all around. Sorry for the language, but yeah.
Yeah, it was a difficult one, I will admit that as well, but we just have to leave that for the stewards, unfortunately. Really good effort to still stay in it and, getting the result at the end, managing to get yourself back onto the podium. P3 will still be good.
P3 initially, but people are talking about like removing penalties, so I'm not sure. But I'm quite sure people are gonna get other penalties for the incidents. So yeah, I hope it stays that way. P3.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, regardless, a massive haul of points ahead of McLaren, so you will be once again bringing that gap further over the orange cars. So good on that one. Belgium, whether you're there or not next time, do you like that circuit? Do you think you can do well?
I think it's gonna be better with the new setup meta. I think it's like one of the tracks I'm gonna like. I've said it. I think I've said this before for other tracks as well. But yeah, we also have a race in another league for Belgium, so I guess I'm gonna have some practice before. So I think it's gonna go well.
Awesome, that sounds great. I can't wait. Thank you very much, Charlie. Really good effort today, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, thank you.
And we move on to Jericho Willis. That was a hell of a race. You found yourself quite high up towards the end there, but on old tyres, which was just such a tall order to get a good result. Can you take us through your race?
Yeah, it was an interesting race for sure. Unfortunately, just so many safety cars really kind of put a damper on everything. But I felt like, overall my race was good. At the start, it was kind of annoying because I got an illegal overtake because somebody crashed in front of me and I passed them after they crashed. And of course, there was a caution. They were going slowly on purpose to get out of everyone's way. And then I get an illegal overtake and have to let them go back across, and then I completely lose the pack. So that was frustrating. Had to work hard on the mediums to catch back up to the pack, but had pretty good pace. Was able to do that. The rest of the race was good. There's some chaos that happened in front of me, and then at the end, just kept getting shuffled up towards the front as everyone was pitting with damage and incidents and getting new tires and all that stuff. The first time I had an option to pit that would have made some sense with very few laps to go. I didn't take it and it shuffled me forward. Thought I might be able to hold on to the positions. That worked fine. The next time the last safety car, that was kind of challenging because it's kind of like, that Lewis Hamilton situation where you're on the old hards and the race looks like it's winding down to an end. You don't even know if the race is going to get restarted. And you're thinking, well, here I am in second position with the race maybe not even getting restarted. Should I really shuffle myself to the back? And then, even if I had new tires, I would probably still sit back there and maybe battle for the last couple of positions. So took the risk and stayed out. And then, of course, everybody was extremely impatient. So, and I had older, cold, hard tires, so I was just in the way. But so apologize for guys for being in the way, but you know, it's a good idea to know that there's somebody with older, hard tires in front of you before you just go blasting into these corners. But anyway, I tried my best. I tried to stay out of people's way the best I could without just slowing down. You know, tried to push, but be careful, knowing that could happen. And in the end, I was thankful I didn't actually crash on that lap and actually got it to the end and you know, and finished the race not in the wall. So that was good and a positive. But yeah, a long race, very challenging, but you know, it's one of those things where you learn a lot when you experience those kind of things. So we'll take a positive out of it, and it's a good prep for tomorrow. Hopefully, you know, that'll help for tomorrow. So yeah.
For sure. Yeah, it was a long race regardless of it also being a sprint event, so really good effort to everybody to get through all that. I was going to ask, do you feel confident for tomorrow?
Well, I do to an extent. I think there's definitely a chance that I can stay with some accident frantic. You know, I know they're going to be quicker, but I'm enjoying the setup that I have. Big thanks to my race engineer, who's been really helping me kind of square away the setups, and it's working better for me. I know I'm off the pace, but I don't have as much time as some of the other guys. I'm a little older than most of the other guys, so you know, struggle to keep up. But those two guys, I think with my setup, I might just be able to hang on to them. But we'll certainly give it our best, and if we can fight with them and have a chance at a podium tomorrow, that'd be great.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Really good result. Really good effort with the fighting today. Obviously, it was a bit difficult, but yeah, you give it your best shot. Belgium, is that going to be a good circuit for you?
We'll see. I haven't been on Belgium in a little while. I do enjoy it, and I'll have to do a little work on the setup and see if that new, you know, the new setups that I've been using suits me well there. But I enjoy it, and I think it'll be okay. I think I'll probably be right where I should be at that circuit. Probably the, you know, the third or fourth quickest would be my guess. But we'll see. And a couple weeks to prepare too, so that's helpful for me as well with the limited time.
Yeah, definitely. So, that would be brilliant. Yeah, thank you very much. Good luck tomorrow, and we'll see you next time.
All right, thank you.
And we move on to Simaxon. Simaxon, well, brilliant momentum, obviously, coming from Mexico, getting a front row in the sprint for qualifying. You also got pole in the main race qualifying, of course. Obviously, didn't quite go the way you're probably hoping it would towards the end, but can you take us through your race, and overall, were you happy with your performance?
Yeah, my race was strange. I would say, like, started from P1, then I tried to escape as the drivers behind were having some issues. Got 1 second for a moment, but then Toysy caught up, so had to fight with them. Then I was driving around P2, P3, I think, and the first safety car came out, so beat it onto the hards. A lot more fighting later. Also, a lot more fighting later. There was the second safety car, and after the second safety car, I had that incident with Toys C. When I thought he was going to overtake Tom Robb, and he just backed off into my front wing. What?
It was a long race to remember everything. Final safety car, I'll ask you about. Do you think that was the right call? Charlie said it possibly wasn't the right call to go for the pit stop.
No, it definitely wasn't the right call to pit. Still got P2, so at least that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But I think it was a big mistake. I could have maybe fight for the P1 with Nufo. if I stayed out.
Fair enough.
It's
Yeah.
between the end, so I'm looking forward to tomorrow's race. Maybe we'll win it, maybe not. We'll see how Frantic does. I didn't really see him for a long time in this race.
Yeah.
So maybe he doesn't have that much pace, and my race tomorrow will be a little more clean and less chaotic than today's.
Yeah, maybe a bit more relaxed and less adrenaline, of course, going through everything. It was crazy, but really well done to get through it. Belgium, is that a good circuit for you? It's a very different one.
Yeah, I've never liked it. I don't expect anything from that circuit.
Fair enough. I guess that's easily said then. Thank you very much, Maxon. Really good effort today. Well done on the performance and the pace, of course. It was crazy. You managed to deal with it well. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
And we move on to Tom. Tom, that was a tough one. Of course, there was a pretty big crash towards the end. Can you take us through your race?
Yeah, firstly, would start with the sprint race, which was really horrible for me because my car just didn't feel like I was used to. I know that I had the right setup on, but it just felt completely different and was losing 0.7 of a second because of it every lap. So that was for the sprint. So I was really happy when I qualified P6 for the main race. Could honestly been P4, but I made some small mistakes in the first sector. Anyway, tried to have a clean race start, don't do anything stupid. And then getting really unlucky with Frantic, and I think it was turn 4, like. So I was just completely at the end of the grids on my outlap. After the pit stop, I made a mistake myself because I just suddenly lost some grip. So that was really annoying. Then got back into the race through the first safety car, but the driving quality and the racing was so terrible. Like Devin and I were just fuming during our voice call. So that was just really hard to get through. So we just decided to stay out for the second safety car to get in front of these guys. It nearly worked, but then it was just getting a bit troubling with a few guys ahead and the medium runners from behind. So yeah, that was just really annoying. Then with the incident with Heisch, like, I feel sorry for him, but I just couldn't do anything. Like, I tried to hold my position, and then suddenly I think the bill was just on my inside, and I just couldn't turn any further to the left, and he was just pushing me into the wall as well. So it's just really unfortunate for him to be in the car on the outside and completely die while I just had front wing damage. Yeah, pitted to the set of mediums I had at the start, and just tried to push on the outlap behind the safety car in hopes that somebody would pit to get in front of them. Was then somewhat further ahead, and then that was just really troubling through the last 2 laps, because anyone just wanted the best position and by any means necessary. So that's really difficult. It was really difficult, but I would say in the end, I've got a somewhat good position. May have the chance to get my penalty removed, and the next like half an hour, I'm just going through the whole race and doing some reports because some of the racing was just not it today.
Yeah.
Like I felt more happy with the racing yesterday in the open lobbies than today, and that's just telling.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and I think everybody should obviously send any necessary reports that they can do so and feel they need to do so. So yeah, hopefully we can get on top of that so it doesn't happen again anytime soon. Yeah, it's a tough one. It's not the way you wanted it to go, but can you... sorry, do you think you can do well in Belgium? Is that going to be a better circuit for you?
Yeah, like last game, I felt somewhat fast through in Belgium, but this game it's just not my track. Maybe with the new meta, it's getting a bit better for me, especially in terms of pace and drivability. But as long as I don't get a setup, like a good setup for me, it's just getting really hard. But like we've got 2 weeks, my school schedule, it's getting better now. So I should be able to get it, and then I might have a chance to get a result like today's again.
Awesome. Thank you very much, and hopefully it can go well for you there. And I look forward to it. We'll see you next time. And we move finally to Nifo, your race winner twice in one evening. That was pretty crazy. Obviously, you don't want to see your championship rival go down in such a way, but if you look at it statistically, it couldn't have gone much better for you, and it couldn't have gone much worse for your championship rival. Can you take us through your race and how are your emotions at the moment?
Yeah, I'm obviously extremely happy. Like the whole race throughout sprint, quali, the both races, like I had so much troubles with like my FPS of the game that like my braking markers were just like a white sheet. Like I couldn't see the numbers on them. Like I was struggling really badly, and I was still stuttering a little bit. Luckily, I wasn't lagging back, so that's a plus. But yeah, I mean, sprint quali, I finished P3 with, just keep it between the lines, and then just had a good race, just know when to make your moves, position myself well, and with the time penalty of Charlie, I obviously got the win, so that was nice. And yeah, then the real quali happened with a bit of a restart, so put me out my rhythm, couldn't really put my laps together, and I had like P5. And had a pretty good start, and then made sure that Frantic was out of DRS, so we had a gap to Frantic, and then Frantic had a gap to the V-car. Obviously, safety car comes out, I'm behind Charlie, so I get pushed back behind Frantic, who I then overtook immediately after. And yeah, then it was just like sitting in the train, just, make sure when to make your moves and whatnot. And then the second safety car came out, and I had to make a decision, do I pit and like go all the way into the chaos that I knew was happening behind, because it's Jeddah, and I mean, it doesn't matter if you're the best drivers in the world, Jeddah's always going to be chaos, people are going to be put in walls, whatever. So I decided to stay out in the hard, because they were still like 7%, 5%, so it's like, it's decent. And then obviously there kept being a safety car, and every restart I pulled away, and then like they were there again, and on the final one I knew like, okay, I have to pit, because if I don't pit, everybody behind me is going to pit, and I'll be done. So I pitted, got out in front of people who stayed out, luckily, which was a result, obviously, of just being P1 and pushing. And yeah, then I just drove the race out cleanly, finished with a 5-second gap behind, even though with all the FPS problems. But I think this race was won more on positioning, strategy, whatever, than pure pace. I feel like there were people much faster than me, but yeah, people make mistakes, gamble wrong, whatever. So, but yeah, out of all my wins, I think this is up there as one of the best, just purely because of how much I was struggling to see even the track in front of me. So yeah, I'm quite happy.
Yeah, that's obviously it helps when you win, and the emotions definitely change compared to the others today. It was a crazy one. You managed to play it right, used your experience to make decisions, and it paid off so very, very nicely. So yeah, really well done there for that one. Whether you'll be there at Belgium or not, is that a good circuit for you? Do you can do well there?
Well, I feel like these past 3 circuits were decent circuits for me, just because like you can follow well in the DRS, and I think the results showed that. I think it's a P2 P1s with the penalties, and maybe a P2 in Mexico if the penalties fall right. So I don't think Spa is one of those. I think you can pull away if you have the pace. So I think it will be more difficult, but there's a fight on our hands now, so I'll try everything in my power to have a good race.
Awesome, thank you very much. Really well done to not give up, of course, with the technical difficulties. Obviously, that's kind of a thing that Heysel should look for, after the race he's had today, don't give up. It's not over until it's over, as you've done today. So really well done. Very well deserved. Congratulations, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
And that's been it. Thank you very much for watching. It's been a pleasure. We'll see you tomorrow for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix for the F1.5 EU Championship. Next weekend, we will have a break week, and we'll see you for Belgium after that. Thank you very much once again, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.